If you pause for a moment and raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please have a seat, and once you're settled, we'll have you state your full name and spell your last, please.
Logan Null, N-U-L-L.
Thank you. So, sir, yeah, we'll need you to put that microphone. You can move that. There we go.
Logan Null, N-U-L-L.
Thank you. Ms. Michek?
Good morning. My name is Michaela, and I represent Tabby. I don't believe we met. I just have a couple questions. How are you related to the individuals involved?
Cody Wilson is my mother. Matthew Wilson is my stepdad.
And can you describe or explain how you became involved in this situation?
I was there targeted practicing behind my sisters, and then a fight broke out between Dave, my mother, and Matt, sorry. And then, yeah.
Did you arrive on scene more than once?
I did. I was already on scene the first time, and then I went home, I took a shower, I put all my stuff up, I took a shower, and then I get a call like 30 minutes later, 15 minutes later, something like that, stating that my mom was hit in the head with a pipe.
And who was the person that called that time?
I had 3 calls, 2 were missed calls. Matt tried calling me, and Tristan tried calling me, and then I was just getting out of the shower, so the 3rd call was Josh, which is Tristan's boyfriend, which is the call I answered.
And how long had you been home at that point?
Like 15, 30 minutes, something like that.
How long would the drive be to get home?
It's about 4 miles, so I'd say about 6 minutes at most.
Okay. And what did you do to disperse the crowd?
I fired my 9mm into the ground.
And you spoke with cops, police officers, or troopers that night?
When I arrived back on the scene, when the police were there, I spoke with a Van Buren County sheriff, and all he got was my name and my information, how I knew the victim, which my mother, of course. And then I left, went home to get ready to go to the hospital, and that's when the state trooper knocked on the window.
And ultimately, was a gun seized?
Yeah.
Did you fire shots that night?
Yeah.
To disperse the crowd?
Yeah.
Were you there for any of the arguments going on?
Before I arrived on scene the second time, yes. I talked to my mother after I fired the shots. There was more arguing. I put my gun away. I talked my mom into going back down to her house. I'd say it's like 1,000 feet away from where they were. She finally went back down there. That's when I left. And then I went home. Like I said, took a shower. I put all my stuff away. And then I got the phone call.
What do you mean by you had talked your mom into going or leaving?
They were, so it all started over the way Dave and them were going through the yard and stuff with all the grandbabies outside playing. So she was really irate and pissed off about that. And then Matt and Dave got into an altercation. And then when everything was broke up, my mom was still sitting there arguing with Dave, and Tabby was sitting in her vehicle. And they were all just bickering back and forth, and I finally got my mom to calm down and go home. And then she went home, and then I went home.
And then you got another call.
Yep.
I have no further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Jett?
Just one, Logan. When you fired your handgun into the ground, was Tabitha present at that point?
No, she wasn't. She showed up after.
Was she on scene then when you left?
Yes, she didn't. I left before she did. She was still there when everybody else left.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Anything else?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Jury, any questions of him? No? May he be excused from subpoena, counsel?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
Thank you. You're all done, sir. Ms. Michak?
We would call David Beatty.
Sir, you can come on up. Right here, sir.
Up to the stand.
Sir, if you just come up partially, raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please have a seat. When you're settled and comfortable, we'll have you state your full name and spell your last, please.
My name is David Beatty, B-A-T-Y.
B-A...
T-Y?
Okay.
B-A-T-Y.
Okay. Can you put that microphone move, so just so the jury can hear you? If you can talk right into that, that'd be great.
Okay.
Thank you. Ms. Michak?
Can you explain your connection to the situation? Like, who do you know on the property?
I know everybody on the property because it's my property.
And can you describe the property? Like, how it's laid out?
Yeah, I have 2 houses on my property and a camper.
Here, 1 second. I'm gonna put the picture on.
It's on there. I don't know what Heidi wrote earlier.
I'm also going to, if you don't mind stepping down, Dave, to point to what you're explaining, if you don't mind.
He'll need to be by a microphone.
Okay.
Okay.
Just so we can get a clear description of this property. Make sure you see this.
Orchard here is my driveway. These 2 houses are...
Can everybody hear?
Yeah, can you hear him?
No, okay, so make sure you speak up.
Okay, Horseshoe driveway right here is my driveway. And my property goes right along all the way back to the cornfield here. My mom's property is right next to me. She owns it's an L shape here, right down this driveway here. And then Matt and Cody's parents own the other part of the property, which was 10 acres at one time, but it's not 10 acres now.
I don't think,
Sorry.
Ms. Michak, yeah, maybe have him
Start over?
answer that question.
Yeah. You're just-
Perhaps-
Testing?
Ms. Michak, maybe you can hold it for
All right.
him if it's easier. Okay.
I got the microphone, you got it.
Okay, the horseshoe driveway, that's my driveway, and my property goes right along here, all the way back to the cornfield. And my mom got half in the divorce, and my dad sold Matt's parents an acre and a half right here in the corner of this property. So
So when you say,
the compound is the whole property here.
and Matt, Matt's parents,
Matt's parents,
would that be on the left side?
the left side of this driveway.
And when you say driveway, what do you mean by driveway?
My mom's driveway goes all the way back to her house back here.
And
Next.
can you explain this alternative path?
This is the back way to my backyard, but it's you can't really travel back through there with a car because there's all kinds of. You can with four-wheel drive, so my Jeep goes back there, but Tabby's car could not go back there. Right here. Plus, they had something blocking the driveway when I first got there that day, and they weren't supposed to have anything blocking the driveway, but that's beside the point. So I drove around it, and I went out back to where I was staying with Tabby in a camper.
Okay. And can you just make it clear and point out where that camper was, that you, or is that you're staying at?
Camper is
If you need.
about right here. That's where the camper's staying. I think it's still right now. This day it's still back here.
And that driveway,
This driveway.
does that lead to that camper?
Yeah, it's one of the only ways we have to get back there with the car because it's my mom's property and it's right along my property, goes all the way around back here, and that's the driveway back there with the car.
Thank you. And then- So, driving down that driveway, your parents' driveway, would be the path of least resistance
Yes,
to your trailer?
to Tabby's camper that's in the backyard. Yeah, it's her camper. It's on my property.
And how do you know Tabitha?
I've known Tabitha for about 19 years. One of my best friends, she moved in with him about 19 years ago, and that's when I first met her.
Okay.
We've been friends ever since.
Did you two get involved romantically?
Not until after the situation.
What situation?
Well,
This?
no, not exactly this one. Me and my wife are going through a divorce, and she's actually helping me through it. And before I got with her, I was having a divorce with my wife, and that's the only reason why I'm seeing Tabby.
Okay. So you're in the process of being separated, you're separated?
Yes.
And on September 9th, you and Tabitha were dating, talking?
Yeah.
Was Tabitha allowed on that property?
Yeah.
And the driveway, who was the owner of that again?
The driveway where that happened, that was my mom's property.
Any point in time was permission revoked?
No.
And can you describe the events that took place on September 9th between you and Matt and I believe maybe Josh Barr?
Yeah, on September 9th, like I said, I pulled in and they had, my driveway to the back was blocked, so I just drove around it, and I went back anyways, and I had to come up and get some wood for a fire, and that's where all this happened. I drove back up, and I went to get some wood, and Josh came out yelling about something. Me and him were just yelling at each other a little bit, not too loud, but loud enough to know we were yelling. And Matt and Cody came up the hill screaming something, and Matt come over and he assaulted me by swinging, and he hit me with something that he had in his hand, and I kind of ducked it. He clipped the back of my head, and then they walked around the other side of the Jeep, and Matt shot the gun in the air about 9 times. All kinds of people that came around me, like they were all attacking me, but they weren't. They were all talking and yelling, and Tabby pulled in the driveway, and I went to get in her car, and she said, "Don't leave my Jeep there because they're probably going to mess it up or do something." So I jumped in my Jeep, and I drove around the back way, and she drove down my mom's driveway, and she never came back to my mom's, and I was worried, and that's when I found out what had happened.
And we're going to break this down a little bit. When you and Matt were exchanging words, how would you describe his demeanor?
How would I describe his demeanor? Uncommunicable. He wasn't able to talk to him. He was just mad. He was saying slurs and threats, a lot of threats.
And if you know, what about Cody's demeanor?
Cody was probably 20 feet away, screaming with a kid in her hand. Really couldn't make out what she was saying. Very, very mad, I guess. Upset.
Who else was there?
Roxanne was there, Tristan, Josh Barr, and me, and Matt, of course, and Cody. I think that was it. Right at that second.
And had you ever, well, did you speak to police officers or troopers at all that night?
Mm-mm.
Okay. And did you observe an assault between, or a fight between Tabitha and Cody?
I didn't see anything. I didn't see it.
Okay.
I went back the back way, and that happened when I was back in the back.
Okay. Did you, okay, going back to the initial event, if you know, was there any exchanges between any of the parties and Tabitha? Like anybody directing their argument or directing their attention to Tabitha?
It's like everything that was directed at me went to Tabitha. When I jumped in my Jeep and headed to the back. Everything, they followed Tabby. She went out the back, she went out my driveway, down into my mom's driveway, and that's where Cody was already attacking the car
And,
when I left.
okay. And if you know, why are they so mad? Like, why are they?
I really don't know exactly why they're so mad. It's something to do with Roxanne, me and Roxanne splitting up.
And does Roxanne live on the property?
Yep. She's staying in my house right now.
Okay. Is it fair to say tense?
Yeah.
Has Matt threatened you in the past?
Oh yeah. He's my cousin, of course. We grew up together.
Okay. What about after the assault?
I haven't talked to him. But yeah, he's had a lot of threats on the phone, but I haven't responded.
Has Cody attempted contact?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. At this point, I'm not sure the relevance of contact between parties that don't have no contact orders. And if it's to get what they were saying, that would be hearsay. So I guess irrelevance in the hearsay objection.
Response to hearsay?
I would say it's relevant because this individual testifying has something to do with the situation. I mean, ultimately, I'm not asking for specifics of these threats, like the specific language of them. I'm just asking if there had been threats and have been threats. And it would be relevant because ultimately, the situation as it unfolded and the theory of self-defense would go to the threatening conduct of somebody.
I'll overrule the objection and allow it.
Have you been receiving any threats since the incident?
Yeah, on the phone. Yeah, they keep messaging me threats. One of them, or both of them.
I have no further questions.
Who's Jeff?
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Emily Chip, and I represent the people today. And so I just have some kind of follow-up questions here. That evening, you didn't call police.
No.
Okay. So when you got in the when you and Matt got in this physical altercation, did you you didn't direct anyone else to call police?
I really didn't have time to because I guess one of my mom's tenants was on the phone with the cops when the shots were fired.
Did you see that?
I was there for the shots fired, but it was on the other side of my Jeep. I seen the gun in the air firing, but I couldn't see exactly Matt shooting it, except for I know Matt had the gun and Matt shot it because Logan wasn't there yet.
You were upset with Matt that night?
Not yet.
Not
I
yet.
wasn't.
Okay. This is your property?
Half of that property is mine, yeah.
And it's frustrating to you that other people are trying to tell you where you can drive and cannot drive.
Yeah, for one, for starters. Yeah, and I can drive in my driveway.
Okay,
the
well, you say
driveway's
for
before.
starters. What else frustrates you about that property situation?
Well, Roxanne's still there, and I can't have my own house because she's very violent, and I don't want to get hurt for one or end up doing anything to jeopardize either one of anything's future, of course, you know.
Okay, you kind of also gave a laundry list of who was there that night. Josh Roy was there that night.
Josh Roy was not, he was there earlier, but he was not there during any of the situation. He walked up the hill with Matt, but then he was gone.
Okay.
Never seen him again that
Was
night.
he was there on his motorcycle, though?
I did not see him on his motorcycle, but yes, that's what I heard. He was tearing up a little bit on his motorcycle.
And for clarification, there's two Joshes.
There's two
That's also
Joshes.
Josh Roy.
This is Josh Roy.
Josh Roy.
Yeah.
So, did you start doing the donuts before or
I didn't
after
do any
Josh?
donuts.
So your testimony is you weren't
I did
driving
not.
recklessly that night?
Not recklessly, no. I was driving my Jeep up a hill, so if that's reckless, then I guess I was reckless, but no, I wasn't.
Okay, so if everyone else that's testified that you were doing donuts in the front area, they were all lying?
Yeah.
Okay. So if it wasn't about reckless driving, what was the fight about that night?
I don't know, ask Matt and Cody, they came up flipping them out about something.
You were just there trying to enjoy your property?
I was there getting some firewood for my fire out back so I could cook our dinner. That's all I did. And I came up there and Josh Barr, come out and he was talking to me about the kids and we had a couple words back and forth because the kids weren't even outside. And yeah, I was driving up the hill kind of quick, you know, but I knew there weren't no kids outside until Cody walked up with the kids. Of course, she had one in her arms when she walked up the hill with Matt and Josh.
Okay.
I think they're the only three that walked up the hill.
After the altercation with Matt, the crowd dispersed, correct? The kind of the fight ended up dying down.
No.
No.
No, Matt was one of the ones that was keeping it going. Matt was attacking me.
Okay.
And Cody was just egging it on from the back.
Okay. And how far away was Cody at this point when from your memory?
Probably 30 feet,
Okay. And you couldn't specifically hear what she was saying?
off and on. Certain things I could hear, but she was
Okay.
talking about something about I was trying to hit on her while Matt was on the way on a business something, and that's not true. That was not true. She says that stuff all the time about all kinds of people.
Okay. So after the shots were fired, then Tabitha comes to the scene.
Yeah.
Okay. And you decide to go back to your camper at this point?
Yeah, because she told me that we should. Yeah, she was smart in the deal by making us dispense. It's kind of her fault we all broke up when she came up there and got out of the car and started. You didn't even get out of the car. Kind of like she opened the door and leaned, said something to me, and I went and got in the car, and that's when she said, "You probably better get your Jeep because they're probably going to pop tires or something." And I'm like, "You said you're right." And I dropped out and I went and got in my Jeep and I drove out back, come back, waiting for her to come back to meet me at my mom's, but she didn't come back to meet me at my mom's.
Okay.
That's when they were up there in the front on my mom's driveway, next to Matt's driveway, attacking her.
And then, okay, I'm going to stop you there. You earlier indicated you did not see any part of the assault take place between
No.
Tabitha. But
No.
then you testified that
'Cause it started
they
up
were
at my
already
house.
attacking the car.
Yeah, when
But
they
you
were-
weren't there to see any of that.
When I was leaving in my Jeep, she was backing out of my driveway and they were attacking the car kind of. They were headed down that way and I was just going back around. That's when I stopped seeing it, is when they were doing that. And I was going to help her when she got back down there, but she didn't make it back down there.
So you saw them attack the car, but you just kept
I seen
driving
Cody
back?
pick up rocks and throw rocks towards the car. Yep,
Okay, in that first driveway?
yep.
Okay, and so she backs off, and do you watch Cody
Nope,
and Matt go
nope, as
back
soon as
to-
she backs up out into the road, I don't see anything after that.
Okay, okay.
So when she pulls in my mom's driveway and all that stuff, I didn't see.
Could you see Cody and Matt
No.
go back to the, no? Okay. So you saw them throwing rocks, but just chose to leave the area?
Because she was in her car, I thought she'd be back there in just a second, yeah.
Okay.
But she
okay.
wasn't.
So when law enforcement pulled up later and asked Tabby who jumped out and
I
ran,
didn't run, I walked.
you walked. So you saw law enforcement came up?
I saw law enforcement coming, so I knew she'd be all right.
Okay. So when you testified earlier that you were at the house and all concerned because she never came back, you knew what was happening.
No, I didn't know what was happening. When I got there and I seen Tabby, she said, "They got me." I said, "What do you mean they got you? What do you mean they got you?" And that's when I seen the law enforcement coming up. And the law enforcement are never on my side. I don't care if I call them or not. So, no, I wasn't going to talk to them.
Okay. Did you give Tabby this pipe for self-protection at any
No.
point? No.
No, that was her car.
Is that something you just knew that she kind of kept in her vehicle for self-protection?
It was a jack handle pipe. It was a jack handle pipe.
Okay.
It was what they used for a jack handle.
Do you know where Tabitha would typically keep that jack handle or that jack?
Probably right in the car.
Probably, I'm sorry, what?
Probably right in the car somewhere, because we've been messing with the tires.
Maybe in the trunk or something?
Maybe, or in the back seat.
Is it safe to say this whole incident has kind of soured relations between you and the Wilsons?
Yeah, I haven't talked to them since.
Okay. I have no further questions.
Thank you. Ms. Michak?
To clarify, when you testify that rocks were thrown at the car that you observed, that was before Tabby would have left
My driveway.
the scene. And your driveway would be where the fight happened with you and
That's where the
Tabby.
fight started, yeah. Yeah,
So at that point in time, you observed,
yes.
okay. Separate from the incident?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And why'd you run, or why'd you walk away? Why'd you leave the scene?
Because I've never had good altercations with the cops, and I
Yeah.
knew
Did you have a traffic warrant?
it's possible.
Okay.
You know,
All right. That's pretty much it, that in a nutshell, why you left?
that's the biggest reason why I left. You know,
And actually, I have no further questions. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Any follow-up, Ms. Jipp?
No, Your Honor.
Jury, any questions of this witness? I have a hand going up. Did you write it out already? Okay, we'll retrieve the question. Okay, I have a couple questions from the jury, sir.
Okay.
Were you drinking while driving fast that night?
No.
Did you call the police and show them the threats on your phone that occurred after the incident you talked about?
I called the police and gave them my statement, and they said they were going to do a follow-up, and they never came back and got a hold of me again.
I think the question relates to after the threats.
After the,
Did you call the police
no,
after
not after
the
the
threats
threats
on
on
your
the phone. No.
Okay,
I was still waiting for them to get a hold of me.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Counsel, any questions in light of those questions and answers?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Jury, any other questions of him? No, may he be excused from subpoena, counsel, if he is under?
Yes.
No objection.
Thank you, sir, you're all done. Ms. Michak?
Thank you. So I plan to call Tabitha as my next witness. I was hoping for a short break before we do that.
Okay. We'll take a question from the jury. Were any bullets or casings recovered, and if so, where?
I believe we did locate casings, no bullets, and they were not recovered. They were left in the dirt. They were left where they're at. We were pointing in the direction of where the bullets were fired at, and we did find, I believe, a couple casings, none of which were recovered. Yes.
Thank you. Any follow-up questions?
Just briefly, was that in the area where you found Cody who was injured, or was that
No.
where specifically, if you remember?
Almost right where that red dot is. Or where the red dot is.
Okay. Where the red dot is, so not on the horseshoe.
No, so it'd be on the horseshoe, but like close to the dirt.
Okay, okay. So kind of where other witnesses have testified the initial altercation had taken place.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any questions? Ms. Micha?
I don't have any questions.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Record should reflect we took that witness out of order to address a juror question. Ms. Michak, did you have any other witnesses?
Yes, thank you. I would call Tabitha Howard.
Thank you, ma'am. You raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this cause will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you. Please have a seat. You can move the microphone. And you are Ms. Howard, the accused, correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Michek?
Thank you. If at any point in time you can't hear me, just let me know.
These things are awesome.
How long have you known Cody Wilson?
About 24, 23 years.
How would you describe that relationship?
If I had to call it a relationship, I would say it was rocky, untrustful.
And Matt Wilson, you know him as well?
I've known him longer.
Okay. And you know who Roxanne Barr is?
Yes.
Okay. And then obviously you know David Beatty. Is it
Yeah,
Beatty?
Beatty,
Beatty?
yes.
Okay. And was there tension between you and the Wilsons?
Yes.
Okay. Can you describe what was going on?
At the end of May last year, I saved Dave from his wife, and they had a problem with it, a
So,
big problem with it.
so your relationship with David is the problem,
Yes.
or it seems to be. And going back to Friday, September 9th, what were you doing during the daytime?
We were actually at my friend Randy's house running a yard sale.
Okay. And what time did you get home?
Probably about 5:36
And where is home to you?
in Dave Beatty's backyard in a camper.
Okay. And is that located?
Yes.
Okay.
It's actually not where anybody pointed.
Is it?
It's more that way up.
Okay. If you don't mind, can you step down to point that out, please? And if you could just point to the direction or the location of where you lived at that point in time. Is it? Okay, so,
It's closer to his mom's house than it is his house. Because I had him, since his wife lived there, I had him put it at the very last part of where his property line is.
you lived on the property.
I live on his property,
I'm sorry, I could not hear it.
I'm gonna try.
Okay, okay.
So, the location you pointed to on the map, that's where you lived.
Yes.
How long have you been living there?
I had been living there probably about a month and a half when all that happened.
Okay. And the individual who owned that land knew you were living there?
Dave owns it, yes.
Okay.
He was living there with me.
Did his family know?
Yes,
His mom?
yes.
Parents?
His wife, his cousin and his wife.
Okay. And at some point in time after you arrived home, did something grab your attention or catch your attention?
Dave had went up there to get wood so we could cook dinner, and Josh Roy pulled in as Dave was pulling
Well-
out.
When you were in your camper,
I wasn't in the camper, I was outside.
when you were home alone, what grabbed your attention?
Josh Roy telling me that he heard shouting up at Dave's, and he had just went up there.
Okay. At some point in time, did you hear gunshots?
Yes.
What did you do after hearing gunshots?
Well, the first set of 5, I started getting dressed, and by dressed, I wasn't out there naked, but I had like my bedtime booty shorts on, and so I started getting dressed, and then there was 3 more shots, which by then I'm frantically getting dressed, and then there was 1 gunshot, and I was worried because they had been threatening him a lot.
What were you worried about specifically?
Dave being hurt
Why?
because they threaten him all the time. They're mean to him.
Who's they?
Matt, Cody, and Roxanne, and Tristan.
So you were worried about David.
Yeah.
All right. And then what did you do?
I finally got dressed, and I drove my car up the driveway and around the corner. And because the driveway I go out is right next door to Dave's driveway.
And what driveway was that?
Dave's mom's driveway. The driveway that Matt and Cody go in to park at their camper.
Would that be the driveway that would be
To the left of the horseshoe.
Okay. And that's the way you came down from your house?
That's the way I always go to and from.
Okay. And why is that?
Because I have a Chevy Malibu with low profile tires that can't make it down that hill.
Okay. Why can't it make it down the hill?
Because it got shitty tires.
Is it a 2-track?
And not only that, it's Tristan and Josh and Matt and Cody and Roxanne have been throwing their trash. It's horrible back there.
And when I guess this 2-track we're speaking of, where's that located on the map?
The path going down by Tristan's house where everybody pointed at.
To the right of that red dot?
To the right, yes.
Okay.
I went down it once. And me and Dave got in a big argument because my car's not going down there again.
Because your car's not made for it?
It's not made for that.
Okay. All right. And when you arrived at the camper where Dave was located, what did you see?
Dave has houses. I arrived at the house. I didn't arrive at the camper.
Okay, so...
When I pulled in, I seen Cody, Roxanne, Tristan, and Josh form like a half circle around Dave, who was leaning up against a Jeep that was parked in the middle of the horseshoe.
And how would you describe what was going on?
They were all yelling at him. I could not hear them yell. I could see them yell.
And why couldn't you hear him?
Because I can't hear. And I was in my car. I didn't get out.
But you could read body language?
Yes.
Okay, and as it relates to the gunshots, what made that different?
Because I don't know. I think it's because I was down in the gully. They were clear. Like usually I'd be like, was that a gunshot? And I didn't have to do it that time.
So you're observing what seems to be an argument. You couldn't make out words.
All of them against Dave.
Okay. At some point upon your arrival at the first incident, we'll say, was anybody saying or directing their attention toward you?
No, not when I first showed up. When I first showed up, they all would, and then Matt came up, and they still had a circle going on, so I turned on my brights, and like maybe 15 seconds later, they like spread out away from them, and then Cody went to the log, and she could have been yelling at me, I don't know, but like maybe 2 minutes later, she came up to my car and started beating on the windshield.
Okay, and so did you say anything to her?
When she was walking away, because I had like my window down like maybe 2 or 3 inches, I might have told her to keep her hands off my car, you psycho bitch, but...
Okay, did you ever get out of your car?
I kind of leaned, maybe 1 foot leaned out, told Dave to get, we needed to leave.
Okay.
And that was after Matt punched him.
Okay. So the parties dispersed, the Wilsons dispersed.
They didn't at first. Logan showed up in the other side of the horseshoe driveway, walked over to his mom, was trying to get her to go down. She wouldn't go down. She kept screaming hysterically at everything. Tristan was trying to get her to go home. And probably five or 6 minutes after Logan showed up, he left. She still wasn't going down, but then she went down.
And when you say down, what do you mean by that?
Down the hill to her camper.
Okay, leaving.
Leaving.
Okay. And at that point in time, where were you?
I was still in my car, in the left side of the horseshoe driveway.
Okay. And ultimately, you leave that location?
Dave actually jumped in my car, the passenger seat, and said, let's go, and I told him he couldn't leave his Jeep. Because when he left his wife, she scrapped his other Jeep.
Okay. So you take 2 separate cars?
Yeah.
And how did you leave this location, the first?
The same way I came.
Okay. And so that would be
Out the
pulling up?
horseshoe, down to the left to the next driveway,
Okay.
to my right.
And is it dark at that time? other than your headlights?
Yeah, my headlights are on. I could really, I'm pretty sure there was a street light. There's a street light out by the road, and there's one by the trailer in between the two houses I'm talking about. But they have like a spotlight, street light kind of thing.
And can you explain or describe what happened as you pulled into that driveway on your way home?
So I pulled in the driveway. When I first pulled in, I seen Cody kind of kneeling down, like her knees were almost touching the ground, and Matt was over her, like trying to console her, like had his arms around her, trying to maybe get her up to go. Then she looked up and she saw it was me, and well, I don't know if she saw it was me, but she saw my car, and so her face kind of contorted, like she's mad, and she grabbed 2 handfuls of empty rocks and threw them at my car as she's standing up, and then she bent back down and picked up 2 more handfuls of rocks and threw them at my car.
At this point in time, were you still moving?
Yeah.
The vehicle moving? Okay.
I didn't stop my vehicle until after the second set of rocks that she threw.
Okay. And when you stopped the vehicle, where was Cody located?
Cody was located almost to the corner of the little fence that separates Jerry's property from Jimmy's property, which Jimmy is Matt's dad.
Okay. So when you ultimately stopped the car and started to open the door, where is she?
Still by the fence. She didn't start walking. She started walking toward me when I had my car and parked my door open.
Okay.
And I had gotten out, but then she like still walking toward me, and Matt started walking toward me. So I turned around and I kind of kneeled into my front seat and felt around in the back passenger floorboard for something, and I found something I didn't even know what it was, and I got out. And I shut my door, and Cody kept walking, and she was like, well, Matt was walking toward me, and then when I kneeled out and I got back out, he had turned around, but then Cody saw what I had in my hand, and she was like, Matt, she got a pipe, and then Matt turned around and they continued to walk toward me.
And at the point in time where you had grabbed something, what was going through your head? Like where was you
Cody was gonna cause me harm. I don't know why she was acting that way that night, but she's always been very intimidating, very scary, unstable, like kind of.
And did I guess the tension that was going on with the love triangle, did that fuel the fire?
She fueled the fire. Like, if she was never involved, it wouldn't have got that bad.
And so your testimony would be that when you initially got out of the vehicle, they were approaching you?
Yeah, both of them started walking toward me, but somehow, for some reason, Matt wasn't walking toward me when I got back out the second time, until Cody told him I had a pipe in my hand.
Okay. Why did you grab the pipe? Or why did you grab the object that turns out to be the...
Because there were 2 of them and one of me.
I'm sorry, what was that?
2 of them and one of me.
Did you feel that your safety was
I,
jeopardized?
at that moment in time, I thought Cody was going to try to get me.
And was Cody, if you know, was she saying anything?
I don't know if she would say anything. She had said stuff. Since me and Dave started being together, she had said stuff about me needing to get beat up.
And was anybody else around?
No, I guess Tracy, the neighbor, heard yelling, but I don't think,
Okay. But Dave wasn't with you?
no.
Okay. So Cody and Matt are approaching, and at that point in time, what was your next move? Or what did you do next?
I think actually I didn't even move from my car. I was kind of frozen. And if I'm not mistaken, I do believe Cody swung at me. Like, she didn't make contact with me, but she swung at me. Like, she swung at me too early or something. And I'm pretty sure that, I honestly can't remember who hit who first. I do know that I did hit her with a pipe.
Okay. So you're not denying that you hit Cody with the
No,
pipe?
I'm not.
But why did you hit Cody with the pipe?
Because she was threatening me. she swung at me. She didn't hit me, but she swung at me. And both of them were coming at me. Matt hadn't made it there yet.
And
And what happened next is I remember we were on the ground and she was on top of me.
do you remember getting kicked?
Yeah, the whole time that me and Cody are on the ground, Matt's standing right next to us and he's kicking me all down my left side.
And what was Cody also hitting you at the same time?
I don't remember Cody ever making contact with me. I remember her trying to hit me, but never making any contact, like it didn't connect.
Sorry, keep going.
So I think I hit her a couple more times while she was on top of me. And then I told Matt to stop kicking me, and he said to stop hitting Cody with the pipe, and I looked over and the pipe was still in my hand, so I dropped it. And as soon as I dropped it, he kicked me like 3 or 4 more times, and then got hit Cody off of me, and I stood right up, and I stood there for a couple seconds because I didn't even know how everything happened, and out of nowhere, like, I heard this loud crack, like on the movies when somebody hits a home run, and then I remember falling, and I remember the sky going around in circles.
And why? Like, what happened?
Somebody hit me. I could see Cody, so it wasn't her.
Okay. And
Matt said he punched me, but he didn't punch me. I couldn't even see him.
okay. And that was after you had stood up?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes? You said, mm-hmm. Was
Yes.
that yes? Okay.
And if you know, where did he make contact, or where was the
On
contact made?
my left cheekbone got an indentation where it hit, where he hit, whatever.
And is there injury still today?
It doesn't hurt anymore, but it's still like an indentation.
And at any point in time, did you intend to fight anybody?
No. I didn't bring the pipe with me. I didn't like intentionally put it in my car and bring it with me. It was already in my car.
Why was it already in your car?
Because once again, with the crappy tires, my tires go flat all the time. I have a jack back there. I have an air compressor that plugs into my cigarette lighter thing.
So that weapon wasn't grabbed for this night?
No.
Okay. Do you recall getting or having your foot pulled or getting dragged or
No.
separated? No. How did you and Cody separate, to your knowledge?
I dropped the pipe as soon as Matt said that, and 3 or 4 kicks from him, and then he got Cody off of me, and I stood right up.
If you wouldn't have, well,
And I never hit Matt. I never hit Matt.
why, and I know this will be a big question, why did you exit the car? Or why did you get out of the
I
car?
actually wanted to know why they were acting like that toward me.
What was that?
I wanted to know why that she was acting like that toward me.
Okay.
Because like, me being with Dave doesn't affect her. She treated me like it's personal, like I took off with her husband, and it didn't make no sense. And since I've been staying in the camper, you know, she talks regular when nobody else is around. But then when other people are around, she traumatizes everything, and just as far as she's ever went with me.
And as it relates to the whole group of people living on that plot of land, it's all family?
Pretty much, yes.
And who was on your side, so to speak?
Dave,
Who did you have in your corner?
Dave,
And why was everybody else against?
well, because you got Matt and Cody, which, you know, they don't have nothing good to say because of what happened. Tristan is Cody's daughter. Logan is her son. Roxanne, the wife that I took off with her husband.
Yeah. Was the situation tense?
Yeah.
Everybody who came in contact other than David, how would you describe that?
It's like they were all mad at me. And before all this, we were somewhat, sort of, either acquaintances or friends. I've been Aunt Tabitha to Cody's kids since they were little.
So, had you, the reason you grabbed the pipe was what? Why? What was the reason you grabbed that pipe altogether? Or the tire iron, Jack?
When I first got out of the car, and all I had the intention to do was to talk, and just like that, just in that split second, I got scared. I went from, okay, what the hell's going on, to, oh my gosh, they're gonna get me because they're both coming toward me.
And you got the heck out of there eventually, right?
Yeah, as soon as this guy stopped spinning, because like my stomach felt like I had throw up and my mouth filled up with saliva. It was kind of weird, it was like instant. And as soon as all that went away, I jumped up and I got in my car and I went back up to, I went the rest of the way up to his mom's house, which is probably, I suck at math, but from here, maybe 2 times the size of this courtroom.
And after you fled the situation, after getting hit and fled, then what happened?
Well, I went up and I went around and I got out of my car and went to Dave's Jeep that was sitting there. Sitting there, it wasn't on, but the lights were still on. And I told him that Matt and Cody had got me, and he was like, what? I repeated myself, and right then, like we saw the headlights from the cop car. We didn't know it was a cop car, but the headlights come pull in the driveway, and like maybe half a minute later, the lights went on, and I knew that Dave had a warrant out for his arrest, so I told him to go.
And did you speak to police or troopers that night?
Yeah.
And have you ever been able to actually tell your story?
This is the first time.
To tell it
Well,
fully?
I did tell it that night, but nobody wrote it down.
And you went to the hospital?
Yeah, I wasn't going to go to the hospital. The EMS lady talked me into it.
And at the time that you had the conversation with the police officers, what was, how did you feel?
Well, when Dave originally walked off, it's like all the energy instantly drained from me, and I had to stop standing. I couldn't stand anymore. So I did. I lay down on the ground, and the cop showed up, and I don't even think he asked me if I was okay. He asked me who it was that took off. And I told him it was Dave Beatty.
Did your head hurt?
My head didn't hurt as much as my cheek did, and then my shoulder was the next thing that hurt the worst.
Do you recall not remembering where you lived?
I think that was like the cop's third or fourth question he asked me, and my mind was blank. I couldn't remember.
And prior to that, did you remember, you knew where you lived, right?
I couldn't remember. Like, I tried really hard to actually think of where I lived, and it wouldn't come up.
And were you feeling like your head was fuzzy?
I was actually worried. That's never happened to me before.
Did you feel like that before you arrived at the first incident?
No.
Was your head fuzzy? Okay. Did you feel sick?
No.
And again, the reason you left the trailer, your camper trailer where you were at,
I was worried about Dave.
And then you arrived.
And he was alive, so better.
And when you left the first incident, what was your intention when you left?
To go back to my camper and eat dinner.
And go to bed?
Eat dinner.
Eat dinner?
Yeah.
Did you ever leave that first incident wanting to fight anybody?
No.
Did you ever want to fight with Cody?
No.
Matt?
No.
Is Matt, is he an intimidating person?
He can be mean. He throws his weight and his, I guess I would say power, he throws his weight around.
And it was just you,
Yeah.
alone?
Yeah.
Two people were approaching? And you grabbed the pipe out of?
Grab the handle.
Yes. After they were?
Yeah, I didn't get out with the handle in my hand. I got out to talk to her, and then they started coming at me, and that, it was like a split second. It wasn't like something was planned. It wasn't something that like gradually got there. It was just like bam, there it was. I was scared of them.
If you didn't grab that, handle to protect yourself, what would have happened?
I honestly believe they would have beat me up.
Thank you.
Ms. Chip?
Thank you. All right, Ms. Howard, you've seen me yesterday and today, so I won't reintroduce myself. I'm going to start off with just clearing up a little bit of confusion. And I have to admit, I don't have the best hearing.
So if you could just look at me when you talk to perfect.
Sure. And if I ask you to repeat something, it's just because I'm really struggling to hear what you're saying, okay? I'm not trying to badger you. So I'm going to walk over and show you, and I want confirmation from you of where you were living on September 9th, okay? Because from the angle, it's just not making sense to me.
Okay.
From where I was sitting, it appeared that you pointed over to this direction.
It wasn't that far.
Okay.
There's like a blue mark right there. A little, right
Maybe
there.
if you put that microphone in.
Like right there,
Yeah, thank you.
by the blue mark,
Okay,
a little bit, just a tiny bit above the blue mark is where we stay. We're closer to his mom's house than we were his house.
So when Dave said that he lived over in this area, you're talking about the same area, you're just guesstimating differently.
Yeah, it's the same area. He's wrong.
So you live with Dave there?
Yes,
Okay.
in my camper.
And
My
had
camper's
been,
still there.
and had been for about a month and a half.
A month and a half, give or take, maybe a couple days.
Okay, is it annoying how loud I'm being? I don't know.
No.
Okay. So now I just want to do a breakdown. You said that you came back to the house 5:30 or 6, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And you heard a couple shots.
I heard 5 shots, and then 3 shots, and then a single shot.
Okay.
Kind of simultaneously after each other.
Okay. But you did not call the police.
No.
Okay, you said you were frantic.
I didn't have a phone.
Okay.
And his mom and dad were at the fair.
Okay, so you don't have your own cell phone.
All my phones were arguing in a circle.
I'm sorry, say
All
that.
my cell phones were arguing in a circle. I would use Matt.
Oh, so you use other people's cell phones. I'm sorry, I'm apparently slow on
That's all right.
uptake as well. Okay. So you describe yourself as frantic, and then you purposely drive to where you think all this activity is happening, where the danger is.
Yes.
Okay. And then you witness yelling back and forth between the various parties.
Yes.
Then you see Cody head over to sit on a log, kind of as it starts to break up.
That was after Matt rejoined the circle, and a couple seconds later, I had to turn my brights on instead of my regular lights, and a couple seconds after that, people started, I want to say maybe even like a minute later, people started backing up away from Dave.
Oh, okay.
And then, yeah, Cody actually went to the log and back, and to the log, she was back and forth, actually.
Okay. So when you're in your car, the window is cracked.
About an inch, 2 inches at the most.
Okay, and you didn't get out of the car at any point during that, just kind of yelling a bit
The
through the
yelling
window?
stuff, no. No, when I told Dave we needed to go, I did open up my door and like step out, like my head was above the car. But I didn't get completely out, no.
Okay, okay. And then, before you ever move your vehicle, does Dave start to leave?
Yes.
Okay.
Dave actually left. I waited till I couldn't see his Jeep over the hill before I backed up.
Okay, so Dave left, and then you started to back up.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about me, I was worried about him.
Okay, and it's your testimony today that then as you backed out of the horseshoe, rocks were being thrown at you?
No.
No, okay.
She beat on my windshield in Dave's driveway.
Okay. So then you back up out of the driveway and go back down the driveway where Cody and Matt have headed.
The very next one.
Okay. And you don't dispute that they live there, that that's their property right off that driveway?
I don't dispute that they use Dave's mom's driveway to get to their camper.
Okay.
Matt's dad has his own driveway on the other side of his house.
Okay. So, but they were on foot, they weren't driving?
No.
Okay. And so you then go back up that drive?
Yes.
Okay. Window is still just cracked a tiny bit?
No, I rolled it back up.
It was rolled up all the way?
Yeah.
Okay. And you have some sort of hearing impairment?
Yeah.
I'm making an assumption. And you start to drive down, and it's your testimony today that rocks were being thrown at your car.
Eyewitness Cody Wilson grabbed 2 handfuls, stand up, throw them at my car, bend back down, grab 2 handfuls, and throw something in my car. Yes.
Okay.
That's my testimony.
Okay. On this new asphalt driveway?
They were on the driveway. They were kind of on the grassy area where the fence was. They were right on the end of the fence.
Okay.
And it's not brand new asphalt. It was Dave's brother Tommy paid for it to be done, and he's been deceased since last October. No, 2 Octobers ago.
So you hear gunshots earlier,
Yes.
and then you see these rocks, but you're scared. You're scared of Cody and Matt.
I wasn't scared till I already gotten out of my car.
Okay. So you come up to them. She's just thrown rocks, and you stop the car and get out of the car, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then when you say that she came towards you aggressively, you didn't see anything in her hand, a pipe
No,
or
I
a
seen her
stick?
husband walking next to her.
You just saw her husband walking next to her.
That's the biggest weapon I can think of.
Okay. Just this person.
Yeah.
Okay. And you then turn back and get a weapon out of your vehicle, this pipe.
Yes.
And didn't get back in the car.
Yeah, I'm dumb. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm dumb.
Didn't close the door.
No.
Your
No,
first-
the
your-
door was closed. I opened up my door and got back in.
So you had enough time to open up the car, reach in and grab out a pipe.
It takes like 0.35 seconds to open up my car and kneel in there. Maybe 2.5 seconds.
Wouldn't you agree that it would take the same amount of time to
I
just
do.
hop in the car?
I do agree.
Okay. And then you hit Cody in the face with the pipe.
She swung at me.
Okay. Do you remember giving a statement to law enforcement the night of this incident?
Yes.
Do you remember telling law enforcement that you don't know who was the first one to take a
To
swing?
hit, to make contact, yes, I do remember saying that.
And your testimony today as well is that you can't then remember who hit you in the face, and you don't know what you were hit with, a fist, or how you were hit.
That's not my testimony.
Okay,
My
I'm sorry. I did
testimony
struggle to
is-
hear you. I
My
apologize.
testimony is that somebody did hit me in my face, and I don't know if it was a fist or a bar, maybe the handle that was there, but somebody hit me, and I could see very clearly Cody on the ground. It wasn't Cody who hit me.
Okay.
And Matt says he punched me after I went after him with the pipe. I never went after him with the pipe.
Do you remember swinging and hitting his forearm?
No, I didn't swing it. As soon as he said, let go of the pipe, and I'll stop, he'll stop kicking me, I dropped the pipe, and I didn't touch the pipe after that.
Okay. And you didn't, when you pulled up, and what was your thought process when stopping the car that first time?
To find out why they were acting like fools toward me. I didn't do anything to them.
You didn't think in any way this was going to be an altercation with how tempers had been earlier?
We have been known each other for like 23 years, me and Cody, almost 28 with me and Matt, and nothing like this has ever happened. So yeah, dumb me to stop to find out why they're acting like that.
Okay. And it's your testimony that you don't ever drive down the two-track drive together?
I drove down there once, one time in my car.
Okay. Hold on 1 second. I have no further questions.
Ms. Meacham?
At the point in time, your vehicle was stopped, you stopped the vehicle, got out of the car, saw Matt, they were approaching you, you were afraid then?
And there was a split second, I wasn't afraid until they started walking toward me together.
Why, at that point, were you afraid?
Because they were together and I honestly don't know why I was afraid, but I was, and just then, like, I wasn't afraid up until bam. Well, I was afraid when I heard the shot, but I was afraid for Dave then, but I wasn't afraid when I stopped and first got out of the car. I was just gonna ask them why they were, I guess, being stupid toward me. I didn't do anything to them, and then they both started walking toward me, and I got scared because they were walking mean.
What was any, like, did anything get said to you?
I didn't hear anything. I don't believe I saw them say anything either. They just were walking,
But they were approaching?
yeah, together. And then for some reason, when I leaned back into my car and got back out, Matt had turned himself around and was walking the opposite direction until I shut my car the second time, and Cody stopped and was like, Matt, she got a pipe, and Matt turned around, and then they both started walking toward me again. And I don't know why I didn't get back in my car. I go over and over, and I don't know why I didn't get back in my car.
Are you proud of what happened?
No.
You didn't want anything like that to happen?
I don't hit people.
Thank you.
Ms. Chip, anything else?
So just that I'm clear, you just testified that as the altercation starts with Cody, and you're so fearful because she has the weapon of Matt, you see Matt walking away.
Yeah, I didn't see Matt walking away until I gotten out of my car and shut gotten out and shut the door and I seen it.
You see him walking away once you have the pipe.
Yeah.
Okay, no further questions.
Anything else?
Yeah, just to clarify, walking away after you grabbed the pipe,
And then,
Or-
as soon as I shut the door, Cody saw it and told Matt, and he turned around and started walking again.
there's 2 times you go back to the car, in a sense. You go
You know,
into your car.
one time I get out and I reach back and got the handle to the jack, and then that's, well, at the end, when everything stopped spinning, I got up and got in my car.
Okay.
I wasn't right next to the fence either, like there's a driveway and then a very thin strip of grass before the fence, and I was on like the furthermost toward the neighbor's driveway at that. I don't remember falling through a fence either. I didn't break a fence, I didn't fall through a fence.
Okay.
I don't even know where half the stuff they said came from.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Chip, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Jury, any questions of her? I see at least one hand going up. Take your time and write that down. Okay, I have a question from the jury. I've modified the question a bit. No objection from counsel. When you had the pipe, did Cody walk towards you?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Counsel, any questions?
Did you announce, I have a pipe?
No, Cody did.
That, you don't know that Cody knew, though, did
Cody said Cody told Matt she got a pipe, and Matt turned around and started walking with her toward me. Not with her, because she was like a little bit away from
So
me.
when she testified, Matt, she's hitting me with something,
He already knew.
she already knew what you were hitting her
He
with.
already knew that I had one.
Okay, no further questions.
Okay. Any other questions, jury? No. Thank you. You may step down. Okay, we'll take our lunch break at this time, jury. I'll have you return at 1:45.